Hello, it's Camilescu and welcome again to Mixers Insight. The wait is over. Let's take a look at Condesa Carmen, a product loved by many and surrounded by many myths and mysteries that have grown over the years. Condesa Carmen is a 4-channel mixer with 2 band channel EQs and a master isolator. It is praised for its full and rich sound and uses discrete circuitry, which many people in the audiophile community consider superior. We will try to understand the source of these beliefs today. The interior of this device consists of many different boards connected by an even greater number of wires and ribbons. It is definitely not designed for mass production and requires a lot of time to assemble and disassemble. Creating a well-designed circuit board layout would allow the creator to save a lot of time that was wasted on assembling this mixer. However, it is the satisfied customers who pay for the time spent. The layout looks more or less like this. I intentionally left out the smaller boards to keep things clear, but I will show them later. Let's start from the very beginning of the signal path and take a look at connector board. The board consists simply of connectors and cables that send the signal onward. The signal from input connector can go straight to the channel EQ or go through the phono preamp. Phono preamp is quite a sophisticated transistor circuit that features RIAA equalization in the feedback loop. This circuit, like all the others in this mixer, is a copy of the topology of the original Bozak mixer. It doesn't take much time to find this out. Counting the components and noticing identical capacitor values with the Bozak circuitry leads to the conclusion on its own. Line level signals and signals from the phono preamp go to the channel EQ board. I don't have anything interesting to say here. It's a subtle Baxandall type EQ implemented using transistors. The only thing that caught my eye was use of generic film capacitors instead of branded ones. Once the channel signal is EQ'd, it goes to the channel volume board. The channel volume board contains only the potentiometers for volume control and ribbon cables that route the signal to where it needs to go. We also see the service technician's nightmare, rigidly soldered cables connecting the EQ board to the volume board. Next in the signal path is the summing amplifier, the heart of the mixer. Signals from channel volume board go back via a ribbon cable to mainboard, where the summing amplifier is placed. Summing amplifier is no surprise a Bozak circuit that is also used in modern Bozak mixers. This summing amp definitely has its own character and doesn't leave the audio signal untouched. The summed signal can be applied to the master isolator that has a nice and useful bypass switch. It's a 24 dB per octave discrete isolator. For some reason the isolator board uses high-quality electrolytic capacitors from Nichicon, unlike the other circuits. The film capacitors are also branded here, the esteemed red VMAS. Most of the transistors used in this mixer are BC550 and BC560, NPN and PNP bipolar type. We have now reached the end of the signal path. To leave the mixer, the signal only needs to pass through the output circuits. There are 3 output circuits. 2 of them serve as main and booth output amplifiers. They use a push-pull topology and have a very high voltage gain. At the very end there are balancing transformers. These parts are used to separate the signal reference from the system ground. This allows sending the signal in a balance mode and avoiding ground loop issues. In all the mixers we've seen so far, signal balancing was achieved using active electronic circuits. This approach is the most commonly used and allows balancing the signal without significant distortion. Using a transformer instead can introduce signal distortion and saturate the sound in a pleasant way. The last output circuit doesn't use transformers and the signal from the output transistors goes directly to the headphones. Let's also take a look at the remaining boards that I didn't include in the main diagram. Record out, Q select switch, and Q master blend. Finally, let's take a look at how this device is powered. It uses an external plus 48V switching adapter from Minwell company. The voltage is then passed to the Darlington transistor that acts as a voltage regulator. Simple as that. Now let's measure this device and see how much harmonic content the circuitry adds to the pure sine wave. Minus 58 dB of THD. That's a lot. Enabling the isolator doesn't change the situation. Thanks to very high headroom, the signal at the end of the range also have the same distortion figure. During measurements, I notice a concerning issue. The isolator in the 0 position shows a very nonlinear frequency response. As a summary of this video, I would like to refer to the words of Condesa brand creator.
I realized when I was building these discrete transistor preamps and Class A tube limiters that the circuits were simple, and this resulted in coloring the audio in a pleasing way. On the other side of the fence, it also struck me that modern audio circuits were compromising audio quality, simply to save money in the manufacture process to increase profits.
How do you think? Where in this mixer compromises were avoided to achieve the best sound quality? And can the best sound quality be defined as sound distorted by easily accessible and affordable components? I fully agree with coloring the audio in a pleasing way part, but I simply don't see any solutions that made this mixer more expensive or less compromising than other IC-based solutions. It's very simple to notice two things watching my video series. Discrete circuitry is often used when you want to color the sound and have control over the coloration. Discrete circuits are more flexible in terms of sculpting the sound. IC circuitry is mostly used when you want to achieve less distortion and keep the sound more transparent. It's a matter of choice, not a compromise. Yes, it's true that with discrete circuits power rails can be larger and it's possible to achieve greater headroom compared to integrated circuits. However, with careful gain staging, headroom in ICs is generally not an issue. Let's remember that professional line level is only plus 4 dBu, is just over 1 volt RMS, so you have a lot of headroom with ICs. When you're a fan of saturating things, you want to definitely check discrete designs. For reasons unknown to me, such solutions are still very expensive while using relatively cheap and readily available components. Will there be a company that can clone the Bozak and keep the price at the level of Omnitronic? It's totally doable. By the way, on the website of my favorite mixer creator on earth, there is a complete documentation needed to build a 4-channel copy of the Bozak mixer. Good luck and thanks for watching this video.